Alright, we're fucking live, bro. How goes it?
You happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, bro. Alright, so this is my bro Jeremy, aka Gator Bitcoin. Let everybody know a little bit about yourself real quick. They probably already fucking know you because I posted
Yeah,
this on Twitter and it's all fam. We all fam by now.
yeah. It's a. I mean, I've been on Twitter now for about 7 months, and it feels
You
like
make it
seven
sound like
years
a
at this
drug.
point.
You make it sound like a
Yeah,
drug. Like, I've been on
on
crack
Twitter.
like 7 months. I've been on
I
Twitter.
crack would be a nicer term because this is more addicting.
Yeah, no,
I
crack would definitely be less addictive than Twitter is, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I could quit
No,
crack way faster than I could quit Twitter. That's a fact. Watch,
right,
ready?
and
I just
yeah,
quit crack. I just quit. Just decided never to use it again.
yeah.
Hold
Me
on though,
too.
I gotta make a tweet. Just
Okay,
quit crack. Done.
okay. That's how. I mean, simple as that. I'm pretty sure I won't ever again either if I ever did in the past. So, anyways. Right. Yeah. So, but with Twitter, I just I just love the idea of people asking questions and I can help them and just anything I can that's informative that can be informative, especially if like someone's in their 20s or they're younger and there's all starting out like trading is a new thing or investing is a new thing, then
Especially in your
they need
20s, dude.
someone.
Even saving's a new thing. Like, we live in such
Right.
an instant gratification, like,
Right.
mentality right now. And that's the masses live this lifestyle to where, like, if you give a 20-year-old 20 bucks, they're not going to invest it. They're going to
Right.
spend it.
Right, and that's like kind of the issue I'm seeing with like a lot of traders on crypto Twitter is if you give them $20, they want to go and take that and put it on 100 times leverage and make that like worth $2,000, and then say like, oh, you know what? But they were supposed to just put that $20, buy Bitcoin or whatever they like, and just keep saving and saving. So that's the difference. What I'm saying, buy something. I'm not saying go to the casino and pull the slot machine and gamble this as high as possible.
I see a lot of young kids at the scratch off machines now, the scratchy tickets. When I
Right,
was growing up, that was like for old people, like
right,
senior
exactly.
fucking citizens who had
Right.
like they were living on
Social,
the
Social
like
Security
social
income.
security. Yeah, they had money coming
Right,
in and everything, so they could throw that away. But now I see young kids because they don't ask for ID at the fucking vending machine.
right,
So you could
right.
be
I know.
17 illegally gambling and nobody gives a shit.
Right, exactly. And
This
they
is
could just
like
have
the
someone to cash
cigarette
in.
machine kind of, right? Like back in the day
Right,
there was a cigarette machine where kids could buy cigarettes. Kids are
right. There's
now
nothing to
buying
stop
these
them from
scratch off and they're getting addicted to that losing gambling mentality. The rush
Right,
of losing is what they're actually
exactly.
going for.
Right, and that's why like it doesn't bother them with this margin idea. They're like, oh well, I'll get it on the next time. I'll get it on the next time, and it's just no different from like pulling the slot machine and like every once in a while I'll be a winner, but you're just accustomed to losing and you
Yep.
just you just get used to it.
Yeah, you go
So
in it for that the nostalgic of the loss, like the sounds, the feeling, the pull, the
right,
action, just that scratch, the hearing of it, the whole
right,
it becomes sort of like cigarette like smoking. It's an oral fixation. My arm is used to doing this. If I don't
right,
have a cigarette, I end up biting my fucking nails because my hands are used to being near my mouth.
right. No, I had to try to break the stock market before, not looking at it. And it was tough because and it's just as hard as not looking at a Bitcoin chart. Like if you get accustomed to looking at something 10, 20, 30 times a day, it's almost hard to just not just stop it cold turkey. It could be just the same thing as smoking. It's like you train yourself into habit, like especially on your smartphones everything is just like a click away with you just have like your charts on like a favorite thing. So I just had to click the favorite thing one time and I got me immediate gratification of knowing where every price was at one time.
Yeah,
And it's
I have
probably a
that.
bad thing. Like
Actually, yeah, I was. That's what I was telling people when I took my hiatus last month. I didn't look at the price. I didn't look at
right,
news. I didn't. I kind of tapped out, and going from that to where I'm at now with how deep I was involved, I think it's good to not be so immersed in every it doesn't matter if
yeah,
I it really doesn't matter how much I know what's actively going on in Bitcoin to
right,
the results of my portfolio. You buy
exactly,
Bitcoin, you hold it, who gives a shit what happens in the meantime? It was supposed to be money you could lose anyway. Let it
right,
ride. And
Right.
just the anxiety of keeping up with it, it's just so stressful, man. It's not worth the anxiety.
Right. And like when I'm working at a company and they give me a 401k IRA, it's not meant for me to look at every day. I'm supposed to hold it till I'm like in my 50s and 60s, and just a certain amount comes out of my paycheck
Yep.
every month or every couple of weeks to go into it.
But every
So
couple
I
weeks
mean,
and every month, you're not examining.
right, but even if it was just once or twice a month, that wouldn't be terrible. Versus, I mean, 20, 30 times a day,
8 hours
every
a
two
day.
minutes.
People have
Right.
Coin Market Cap and shit as their live wallpapers. Like
Yeah, I can't
they
do it.
constantly can't get away. Like I was over some friends' houses recently when I'm traveling for a Bitcoin event, and they were literally drinking, smoking, and having an actual party just watching the
Right.
Bitcoin chart in the background.
Right. See, I mean, it comes to like a sickness at a certain point. Like at a certain point, I gotta sleep. I gotta like disconnect from this. I have a family. I have, it just this is one life, but this can't be my entire life.
How
It
did you
can't just
get this
consume
life
me.
started in crypto and everything, man? Like, how
I
did
just,
you end up stumbling into crypto Twitter and getting into Bitcoin?
it's just like a like a repeat of the bottoming process with Bitcoin. That it was like, okay, I saw this all before March 9th, 2009 with the stock market, and it's like I feel like I see this all playing out again. Let me go on to Twitter, where it was really my friend who told me, is like, look, you're on this little. I was on this little page called Gainesville Bitcoin. It had like 300 members on Facebook, and they're like, yeah, that's nice, but this is like a closed group, and if you really want to get your message out there and tell the people like what you think about this, go on Twitter. Like he didn't know what crypto Twitter was, but this guy just said like, look, you can talk with anyone pretty much everywhere. It's a really open environment, and if you get your message out, people will listen to you. So I mean, that was just like I was thinking like, okay, it's early January now, and I mean, I want to like I believe that, and I see something here, and I want to make others believe too. So that was like the whole impetus behind it. And then from there on, it was like because I owned this like rally from the bottom, that I felt like this is like my bull market that I'm trying to defend it. So I'm trying to keep making the comparisons between the 2009 stock market after it crashed to this. And so there's the same phrase, the wall of worry. Basically, that all real bull markets, they're not what you saw in 2017. All real bull markets are something that's two steps forward, one step back. And these people that are like that you were just saying, that look at the charts like that have these parties, they're going to get so immense in the one step back that they're going to forget the two steps forward.
Yep,
So
I
I'm
see. We've seen
yeah,
it. We've seen it happen. If you've been in the space longer, I know 7 months and all, but like,
right,
I've been in the space 3 years now and some change, and it's you see it come and go. Where it is perspective, right? Where did you get in?
right,
Where did you plan to get out? And
right,
people don't have plans in this. They don't plan to
right,
get out. There is no. There was never a buy price, right? Like they never said, "Oh, I'm just
right,
gonna." They just bought it, and there's not a sell price. They're just like, "Oh, it's gonna go moon Lambo." Like it's that
right.
fever dream that's gonna keep people getting sick when they look at the price.
Right, and I don't want them to think Moon like, if I bought a stock or anything, I wouldn't expect a Moon or Lambo in a year from now for anything.
Well,
Everything takes
crypto,
time.
like Bitcoin's a lot different than
Right,
stocks in the fact of
right,
scarcity, the halvening versus stock splits, and everything involved with like the actual utility. I mean, right now,
right,
Bitcoin's biggest use case is speculation.
right,
But
and
as we
that's the
see
problem.
companies get into this, it's actually being utilized into hard coding. So they're
Right,
taking these pieces of currency, like a dollar bill of Bitcoin, and they're
right,
painting a Picasso on it. They're coding
right,
it. And
right,
now we have more use case starting to appear with Bitcoin other than speculation. And this happened with gold. Originally, gold
right,
was just speculation. Then we had technological companies incorporated into logic boards, motherboards, computer components, spacecrafts. Now we
right,
need gold for other utilities. As Bitcoin sees that, I think we'll see that. And I'm not saying Bitcoin will moon or Lambo or whatever, but I see why people expect that because of that scarcity and
right,
the only use case being speculation. As we see, I mean, the fucking SEC's running full nodes, bro.
right, right. I mean, I think the cat was out of the bag immediately when Trump had the tweet that was
Oh
anti-Bitcoin.
God.
From then on, well, I could go back to that in a second, but what I wanted to say with what you were, I just wanted to go back to what you're saying with the new use cases. In 2017, because we didn't have those use cases there, when we had a sell-off, that like we crashed because there was nothing under us to keep us there. Now that we have these use cases, that we had this sell-off over the last month, but there's more people that hodl and believe because of these use cases. So that this way we can have higher lows. Like it translates into the charts as in people saying, okay, we're not going to let this crash back to nothing again. This time, if we let it go down, we'll let it go down only so far, but then we'll protect it at a certain point. That's what I'm seeing this time versus 2017. That I see this being a real bull market, and you can put your money on.
What are your thoughts on the market's health right now? We've seen a pretty significant, dip as opposed to where the year started, ended. But we've seen a pretty significant climb as well. Is this one of those purgatorial moments where we might see some linear movement, or do you see any parabolic potential?
So I think I think it's not going to feel parabolic, but it'll look back in time as parabolic. That this will just be sort of a steady crawl up, like I would call it a melt up. That pretty much we'll have our one step back. That I would call the I would call April through June a 2 steps forward, and then the last month a 1 step back before another 2 steps forward, and pretty much it doesn't have to be all done in a day, but it will just slowly start creeping up to a certain level, and then that gets people more interested. And then Bitcoin's just the type of thing where as it goes higher, people FOMO, and FOMO is a real thing. And I mean, it's just that they don't know how to FOMO when we're dipping, but they FOMO while we're rallying. That's just how it is. But I see this being where we go and we make like another higher high, and then we have another pullback. And I expect this to still be, I mean, these are still wild swings, but I still expect this to be a routine 2 step forward, 1 step back kind of bull market, because at least until 20K, because there's these doubters that think we'll never get back there.
Glass ceilings, baby. That's all that is.
Right. And to be fair, for anyone that was bag holders in the past and they're like, oh, I got my money back, and they get out.
Mount Gox, that's exactly what happened when Bitcoin had its previous all-time high. We hit it again at 1,100, and we had a decent sell-off because of the same people. And I can't help but to agree with everything you're saying right now, because I've said this. When we see that $20,000 price again, that all-time high repeat, we're going to see a lot of people, because Coinbase was announcing that they had more active users than ever during the bull run. So basically, more people bought Bitcoin over 15,000 than under. More people got interested and bought it. So they're in a negative still. More people are in a negative still. So we have to see 20 to really get an idea of what's going to happen.
Right. Like I call this negative. I call this like PTSD. That they're in 2018 PTSD. And this is the real thing in the stock market too.
PTSD.
Right. I mean,
is that how you got your medical card? Did you tell your doctor you had Bitcoin PTSD?
Well, I will tell you, I was in the hospital once, and they told me not to have the stock market channel on. They took out the channel because they're like, I can't be under stress right now, and I'm looking at the ticker constantly. So just if I could avoid stress in any way, that would be helpful.
Words of the wise, bro.
Right. But it's no different in stocks. When we crashed, everyone was in denial about it, or not everyone, but there was a good majority that didn't believe in that bull market until we made new all-time highs, that we recovered the whole crash. So I think this is the same kind of thing. We have to recover the whole crash, get all the people that just got their money back and they want to get out. I have a strong feeling that they'll get back into it, when it's 40, 50,000, because they'll be kicking themselves. Why did they get out of it? But it's just one of those things of being patient and being rewarded. So I mean, that's how I see this playing out. At the same time, I say all this, I'm someone that I only buy the dips, and I try to stress this to people that I'm only buying when everyone's giving up and they're all saying that we're going lower. So
that's that Warren Buffett mentality right there, except not so much Warren Buffett's Bitcoin mentality, but it is his investing trading mentality. And to be fair, be honest, this is all public on his Twitter. You can go check this man's history. you've gotten a lot of credit where it's due on your calls, your buys, your sells, your charting, your tweets.
Right.
And it's been really fucking interesting to watch your climb in this community just grow, bro. And your perspective of it publicly is being, rallied around. And it's beautiful, man. I'm loving it.
But I mean, what other place could we have this where like CZ Binance can follow me and talk to me? And it's like, how could I have
That's a
just met
flex.
him
He just
Right.
flexed on us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like how would I have been able to just meet him randomly in the real world without this? So like this, and maybe then like I'll meet him in a trip later sometime. Like he'll come to Florida or something, and I'll see him because he knew me from Twitter.
Right.
So just these little connections and how they can sprout into bigger things. That's like what.
Do you have any like crypto goals or ambitions in the community? Do you aspire to be anything more than just the Gator Bitcoin guy, or is what it is?
It is what it is. I like to get to a point where I'm a realtor, and if I could have like a business of referrals that everyone was like, oh, if we're gonna buy a house in the future and we're in America, we'll go and reach out to Gator Bitcoin to then get a referral to buy whatever house we get, or if we're in the Florida area, we'll just buy a house from him altogether.
Oh,
so
nice.
that I mean, not right away, but if there was an ultimate end goal, like how I can better myself, that would be it.
So you're a realtor at heart.
Well, I'm a realtor that it's the same idea as Bitcoin. Like land is just as scarce, and I'm applying all the same ideas. But where I live in the Palm Beach and Broward County are the top two counties in the country for people with second homes. Like everyone comes here to as a vacation home or they're snowbirds. So it's just this is one of the easiest careers, not easiest, but it's just there's always business for this in this area. It's just constant flow of people from the north coming down here, and then some people will come here to retire, and then it'll just be the cycle. They'll come here, retire, and then as they pass on, then there'll be more house transactions where their home gets put into a trust, and then I'm with the trustee selling the home to somebody else, and it's just like a circle that goes over and over again.
A circle of real estate life.
Yeah, you could say that. But Bitcoin goes hand in hand with real estate for sure.
I feel like Bitcoin's more scarce than land. As soon as you said that, my mind was like, well, they make islands all the time, but you just can't make Bitcoin.
Right. So I guess, in these days, who knows 100 years ago.
Yeah, well, but quantum computing, maybe they will be able to. What are your thoughts on these forks? Because they keep happening. They're still happening. There's still forks every fucking day of Bitcoin. It is absolute insanity. But I do got to give a shout out real quick to Coinbase. I can't do shit with the Bitcoin SV that happened to appear in there because I used to have an account. Like, I can't do anything with BSV. It's dead. Right. And all the exchanges that have done, I think that is an amazing rally to have around the community to say, these forks are starting to get officially fucking scammy to where Bitcoin Cash is now in that same category. So fuck you, Roger. I hope you like that room you put yourself in with Craig when we're all Craig writing it.
Right. No, I like how on Coinbase now they'll have a separate app. They'll say what's available on Coinbase, what's not available on Coinbase, and you can see now that the things that are looking like scammy, they're getting put not in the not available category. So it helps me, and it helps anyone that's especially if someone's a noob to this, that they don't fall for the wrong traps. It's all like little traps where they're supposed to just focus on the major coins. And instead, these are just like penny stocks there to just distract them.
Well, it's really gonna keep working because I think I just read an article recently. We're only at about 14 million wallets, 14 million people maybe potentially actively using Bitcoin. 14 million.
Right,
that ain't shit. There's like 8 billion fucking people on this planet. So if you could create a shitcoin and call it a Bitcoin something X, you're going to get a potential because of that. And I just think that with mainstream attention on this and people like Peter Schiff and Warren Buffett even negatively talking about Bitcoin, they're still talking about BTC Bitcoin. And when people start to see other tickers, it's starting to trigger that, well, what the fuck is this? So
Right.
I'm waiting for that mass consciousness to kick in, like mass awareness where like if you put a gun up to a dog that's never seen a gun, the dog instinctively knows that's fucking bad. You're
Right.
going to see a shit coin and instinctively know that's shit.
Well, that's exact. I mean, when Bitcoin topped out, at the same time you had this massive rally with Bitcoin Cash, where everyone was like, was new to this, was like, oh well, Bitcoin looks too expensive now. Let's just buy this other thing, Bitcoin Cash. And then they had this insane rally, but that was really the top of everything, and then everything crashed after that.
I don't see anybody talking about a Bitcoin Cash ETF, so
No.
I don't know, guys. I don't think it has much leg room left.
Right, and like I have told, if someone wants to go and have a project and have a coin, just don't call it Bitcoin, call it something else, and make a
when
thing
Gator
out
coin.
of it. Yeah, exactly. Just call it that, and do your own thing with it. Just don't take the Bitcoin name like that and try to just you're devaluing it just by overusing it. Just keep it as one Bitcoin core, one thing.
So do you use, speaking of Bitcoin Core, do you use Lightning at all, or are you still on Legacy, or you've been using SegWit wallets? I'm just curious, like, which Bitcoin do you use?
Well, I mean, it's coming straight out of my Coinbase wallet for most of the time that I'm spending.
Oh, so you trade actively on Coinbase?
I trade, but I'll go and pay for things. Like I'll have a QR code.
Oh, gotcha.
On my Coinbase, and so it'll be like my Coinbase account will be like my checking account, and my Trezor will be like my savings account. Like
gotcha.
I want to ideally keep one away from the other. But sometimes I'll take some out of my savings and put it into my checking.
I do want to highlight for some of the listeners the difference between purchasing something with a Coinbase wallet as opposed to maybe purchasing something with a Monarch wallet. Coinbase knows everything you're buying, just like Visa. If you go to the corner store and you buy cigarettes with your debit Visa card or MasterCard, they actually have that information and your purchasing habits, which they then sell to your insurance company, who then say, hey, buddy, you said you didn't smoke on your insurance form. I know you're sick, but Visa said you lied to us, so we're gonna have to tell you your insurance is no longer gonna cover you. But now Coinbase can do the same thing, but expedite that to a whole nother problem where tax issues pop up, where you get into Bitcoin early, it's first in, first out tax, so you don't realize that the Bitcoin you bought at $500 is the Bitcoin you're using when you just bought Bitcoin at $10,000 to buy a cup of coffee. So centralized wallets like Coinbase have a higher risk of privacy vulnerabilities with purchasing habits and your investment habits and things like that. So I don't use Coinbase actively anymore because of that. I use the Monarch wallet, but it's really up to how you want to do it. I'm sure since you're a realtor, you're really on top of your taxes. I can't even spell taxes, let alone know how to do them. So like I'm not. So I just do the best I can to keep myself as far off their radar as possible, except for saying fuck taxes pretty much live here on YouTube.
Right. I mean, pretty much for me, this is just like a case of it is what it is. If there's things that I could write off to make it work, then I can. But I mean, if my choice, like people are telling me like, oh, well, you're taking profits and you got to pay taxes on it. I mean, anything I make money in life, I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. It's just something I have to accept. So, I mean, it's something I planned for before I, made these trades in the first place.
I saw an interesting article about somebody from, I think it may have been even the Federal Reserve or somewhere. I can't remember who, but the article pretty much covered that it's starting to get harder for them to prove that income tax is mandatory and not optional. And this is what John McAfee has been promoting very advocately, that income tax is optional, and he is opting out of that. And that is I'm waiting for the crypto equivalent of the Boston Tea Party. Like, when I buy Bitcoin with US dollar, it feels like I'm dumping it into the Boston Harbor. I'm just dumping US dollar into the ocean. And I feel like that epiphany, that moment will happen. We'll have that, because there is no way to rebel tax-wise now. You'll go to jail, blah, blah, blah. There's a monopoly on money. They could take your house. They could take your car. They could take your savings from your bank account. They can't take your fucking Bitcoin. You have to give it to them. It's optional.
You have to sell it. Right. No, and that's why, there's a lot of places where if you want to go and use their websites to trade that are outside the country, you need a VPN for it, because America doesn't want you to go and make money there, and you can't check.
Well,
Can't
no.
tax
Sometimes it's not America doesn't want you to. I want to clarify this. A lot of businesses just don't want to fuck with America. That's really what it comes down to. It's not that America doesn't want. They don't want to fuck with America, so they block the IP address of the United States, and then they don't have to follow any United States laws.
Right.
And if you want to go over there, then you use the VPN, and now you're basically a walk-on citizen of that country, and you can follow their laws, because the internet isn't a tangible, physical fucking realm. You can't put a border around the internet and say, you can't do this in this circle. Yeah, I fucking can. What do you mean I can't?
Right. I think that's where Trump is missing this point here. This isn't like the Mexican border here. You can't stop this.
He's not going to build a wall around Bitcoin.
Right, you can't build a wall around the internet. Like, I mean, they even made it where if the internet was down, like on a pulse, that Bitcoin would still work from space. So I mean, even then,
fucking shout out to Adam Beck and Samson Mao and fucking Blockstream and everybody, dude. You can Bitcoin from space.
Right. I mean, I think just right there is like a sign of superiority right there.
Didn't we see somebody? I think it was Charles Hoskins or somebody that did a ham radio transaction recently, like within this year. Him. I saw somebody do a ham fucking radio transaction.
Right.
What, dude? That's like apocalyptic currency right there.
Right. Exactly. And you know, so these people are mentally ready for if we have like a financial apocalypse. You know, not that we want one and we want to be doom and gloom, but it doesn't hurt to have a rainy day fund or to, you know, prepare for this.
Do you see a difference between gold and Bitcoin in a currency situation for an apocalyptic event difference? Because I clearly do.
Just that Bitcoin is still newer and the people have already taken that thesis and have already put it. Just that gold is just this older asset that people have already put that money to. So I think if anything that Bitcoin should be equal with the market cap of gold. And if you did that right now, mathematically, it's around 400,000 or so. You know, so that's just to say that Bitcoin, you know, that all the Bitcoin in the world is worth all the gold in the world. And when you go beyond that, after not this halving, but the halving after that, gold will be or Bitcoin will be rarer than gold inflation wise, and that's just on Earth, where it's just a known fact that there's planets and asteroids with, you know, tons of.
Elon Musk has been talking about mining asteroids for minerals since like he fucking started eBay or MapQuest or whatever. This has been a thing for like over a couple decades about getting gold from other sources, or even a form of like alchemy where like in China they're figuring out how to create gold from raw minerals and materials.
Right. So at the end of the day, then when the more that happens, the more that the Bitcoin becomes the real gold to me, or just gold 2.0.
To me, it's better in that event because you don't. If somebody were to try to pay for something in gold with me today, right now, I can't accept it. I don't fucking know if that's real gold or gold coated or gold.
We're not in that.
I don't even know the purity. If that 14, 20, I don't. Is it 8? I don't know the carat of it. So, but with Bitcoin, you go to send me that on my wallet, even through a ham radio, my wallet will either accept it or reject it because it is or isn't Bitcoin. I don't need to know if it is or isn't Bitcoin. My wallet will know. So, you know, when it comes to dealing with gold, you know, I talk to a lot of gold bugs about it, and it's fun to argue, but they're like, you know, but what happens when the internet goes down? I'm like, well, bullets are currency. I don't know what to tell you. Gold is not money when we lose the internet, you know, because no one's going to be able to set the market. Are you going to go to the market and say this piece of gold is worth all your chickens? What are you going to do when they say no, it's not?
It would be, the market would be set by the vendors like medieval times, where you're just in your local market and they're all just supplying like a barter system, like, you know, like I'll trade you my cows for this amount of.
And gold wasn't as popular as cows. People would much rather your cow for the chickens than gold for the chickens. Then they have gold and have to go fucking buy a cow now.
But right. So that's how, like, I think of gold more like something from, like, it had its point in the past. Like, that was money, you know, this was before paper money. This was hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago. So that was, but now we're in the future. So this is something that, you know, times change and things change. And so people just have to look at Bitcoin as just gold 2.0. Yep. I mean, from how I look at it. But I mean, if you're going to do that, you really have to have a savings, like, you know, get either a treasure wallet or something where you're gonna put it in there and
I'm
just
not a
set it
big
and
fan
forget
of
it.
hardware wallets, bro. It's one of the things I hate about this space the most are hardware wallets.
Well, I mean, I just want to put it somewhere where I know no one can get into it. It can't be
But
hacked.
that's the thing. I can totally make you insecure about your hardware wallet because the problem is I know too much about them. You know,
Right.
if you think your hardware wallet's secure, then you're just living in a
Well,
Sloman Shield
I
house.
just like the
Your house
idea
has
of
a
like,
Sloman Shield sign in front of it, and
right.
you're that as secure as your Bitcoin being in a hardware wallet. That's the equivalent of the digital era Sloman Shield. It means nothing to a real burglar.
Okay. No, I mean, for me, I just want to make it where I don't have to look at it. I kind of feel that if I have this on an app, I think this goes more to like my addictive personality, right? That if I have this in a physical form that I put onto a hardware wallet and I put it in a safe and I don't look at it, then I'm less likely to do something like impatient with myself than if it was on an app and I can just go
Right.
2 clicks with my thumb. So it's more like I agree with you ideally. It's just more saying that I don't trust myself.
Well,
That
there's
I have
safer means. You could use a
right,
paper wallet. You could use an Android phone that never touches the internet for offline
right.
storage.
That's what I mean. Is like I
But
just want to put
hardware
it somewhere.
wallets are dangerous, man. Did you know that, if your hardware wallet goes without an update, that your firmware has an exploit that could be vulnerable to a hacker and attack? So, say you're in a hospital because you're hit by a car. One of your
Right,
friends breaks into your house and steals your hardware wallet. All they have to do is hope you don't wake up or whatever in time because eventually an exploit will happen. And they'll be
right,
able to bypass that password that you provided. And if you
right,
do not update that hardware wallet, you need to insert the 12 to 24 word recovery phrase or seed.
right, right,
Well, what if you had a house fire where you kept your paper wallet and it's gone, but your hardware
right,
wallet is in a bank in their vault? You go and get your hardware wallet out of the bank, you plug it into your computer, it says mandatory firmware update. You now can't do shit with your Bitcoin. It's gone because you lost your private keys in a fire and your hardware wallet has a mandatory firmware update that will not let you interact with your Bitcoin without your private seed. I've
right.
had that problem happen to me in early 2016 and I went right into paper wallets as far as it goes with the bit138 encrypted passwords on top of the private
Right.
key. So even if the private key is exposed, it has another password on top and it's encryptedly generated an algorithm password that I have for that memorized, not written down. So
Right.
it does get a little bit complex if you go too down the safety rabbit hole, but I feel like unfortunately hardware wallets are promoted to be more secure than they actually are. And the hardware wallet companies don't highlight the hardware wallet risks because you don't see cigarette companies willingly telling you they're going to give you cancer. They had to be forced
Right.
into it. I feel like these
Right.
wallets should come with a warning label that explains the risks of using a hardware wallet because you're paying a decent amount of money. Most people, which is funny,
Right.
they have a $100 hardware wallet, but they got $20 worth of Bitcoin and $30 worth of shitcoins.
Yeah.
They don't even have the amount of money invested in the asset that they have invested in the hardware.
Right. Right. And yeah, I didn't start. I had a lot of Bitcoin before I even started thinking to get this in the first place. But
I made the mistake of buying a Ledger Blue hardware wallet when Bitcoin was $400. The wallet was $300,
wow.
Gator.
Yeah, 0.75 Bitcoin.
Ah!
So you paid like $9,000 for the wallet now.
And it sucks. It fucking
Right.
sucks. I can only have 3 currencies on it at once.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I have to delete the Bitcoin wallet to use my Dash wallet, and it's just
Yeah.
I'm not a super fan of it, but they do have you're right, they do have their use cases and they do have their points. Oh, we have some questions in the chat. Hey, Gadget, get UK, how goes it, bro? Cheers. Hey, Boston, clarify your question, bro. I'm sorry, it may have been something pertaining to what we were saying earlier. Just reframe your question and I'll take it. And we have Coca-Cola. Oh shit, what up, Coke? Yeah, this is the Coke Classic or Coke. It looks like Coke Zero. ETC, the original smart contract blockchain, funding or ETC Labs, San Francisco. I'll say this. I think Ethereum Classic ETC is the real Ethereum as opposed to ETH. I see ETH as BCH, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Cash. But fundamentally and team-wise, it is the core team. It is the core everything. But it is the fork, and ETC is the classic.
it's funny you say that because it's something that I agreed with. I was just looking for the right entry point to get into ETC to do that, and it wasn't really from the price of ETC in dollars. There was a pair of it between ETC and Ethereum itself that you can look
Ooh.
at, and it's like a couple of weeks ago it hit this long-term support line where it's really just now or never. And then since those couple of weeks, ETC has started to outperform Ethereum. So I took all the Ethereum I had at that time and I converted it into ETC. And the idea being that I'm trying to make more Ethereum out of it. So my idea, not trying to make dollars out of it, but trying to, maybe I'll double the Ethereum
I hope you
I
guys are
had
listening to this, man. No, I have
Yeah.
YouTube videos that everybody can go back and fucking fact check because I did this shit. When Ethereum forked into Ethereum Classic, I stopped looking at Bitcoin pairing, stopped looking at dollar pairing. I only looked at Ethereum and Ethereum Classic pairings.
Perfect.
And that's it.
No, that's
Everything
how I
else
look
was
at it.
dead to me. And bro, watch the videos I did. I did day trading on Jack's wallet using Shapeshift so I could anonymously, without KYC, day trade in and out of ETH and ETH Classic. And ETH Classic was 50 cents or something when I started really getting heavily. I remember when it passed like $15 or something, $20, and I started giving it away because it was like giving away 50 cents. And people were excited to get $20.
Mm-hmm. No, so from my perspective, I thought like we just had like a really strong bottom lately, and I've been looking at that chart. I've been showing that chart to people. But
what do you think's giving us this strength right now? Like, what do you think's giving us this strength? Because we can point out all the weaknesses. It's so fucking easy.
I think that's what it is. Is that just it's the absence of baggage. That it's like, okay, it pushes people into the ETC camp because they're just getting some seeds of doubt in their mind that like, oh, maybe there was this thing about a sharding with Ethereum.
Yep. It's a hedge against ETH 2.0. That's what it is.
Right, and so people just want to be safe. They just so maybe they're not taking all their Ethereum, but they're saying, just in case, then they convert a little bit over. And I think people are starting to do that now, and this is going to start being a bigger trade coming up here soon. So I'm actually I'm glad you know that because that's like one of my top trades right now.
We're gonna be in Toronto together at Futurist Conference August 13th and 14th, and Vitalik will fucking be there.
Right. So maybe he'll have some input on the whole situation. So.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping to get him in an interview because I have so many questions I want to ask him that nobody's ever asked. Like, are you still a virgin? How much money do you have? Like, I have so many questions for this guy.
Right. Well, I mean, whatever you can get him to say on TV would be fun. But I mean, I think he's a fun guy. So, you had a picture with him last time, like you were in the unicorn thing.
Well, yeah, I met him in Hong Kong, and then I got to actually hang out with him in Ottawa, or was it Toronto, at the Crypto Chicks event. And we hung out. He doesn't smoke, but like he was talking to me while I'm smoking a joint, and we were just shooting the shit out front. And I'm just like, I love this space because of that. Like the intimacy that I can get in this space. Like you said, you had like CZ following you. You met him. Like I fucking met the creator of Ethereum, bro. Like what?
Can I do that with Tim Cook or Eric Schmidt of Google? No. I wish.
Where are you gonna run into Mark Zuckerberg?
Exactly. That's what's special about this space to me. That's what's keeping me in it.
And that's early opportunity is the intimacy. Like any other space, as it grows, that opportunity for intimacy will dwindle. People did have elbow time to rub with Mark Zuckerberg at one point, and that was at that social media internet boom of that era. And we're in a different era boom right now where the opportunities are here. And you can either seek them with dollars, you can seek them with your time and attention. You can go to these events, rub elbows, create a career for yourself, either podcasting or maybe you do audio graphics or you do blah, blah, blah for development. There's a company in this space that's looking to hire you, even if you are just a cashier at McDonald's and you know how to sell a Big Mac. Maybe you could be a booth person and help them sell their shitcoin. There's always going to be something in this space for people as it grows. But I think now is the time to really get that intimacy with the people. Even if this doesn't go anywhere, the amount of knowledge that you can gain from having a fireside conversation with people that have really gained a lot from this space by contributing the most, it's a lot a lot more refreshing than hearing the conversations from people who've just invested early and got out nice.
Right.
You know, it's a
Right.
totally different comfort mentality to get when you're talking to the people that actually built the things rather than the people that speculated on them.
Right. And I was in this conference in Miami for Cardano, and Charles Hotchkins was there and everything in April. And this guy that was there, Crypto Ran Man, like he was just sitting at a table, and I didn't know too much about him at the time, but I just wanted to pick his brain. I just go up to him and I'm saying, hey, look, this is what I think is going on with Bitcoin right now, and then I was comparing it to the stock market and was like, just what do you think about this? And he heard me out. Then it went to going into a 20-30 minute conversation where we're just sitting there eating food and talking. And that was just so cool, how these people will take time out of their lives where they're just like, oh, I'm not too busy for you, I will stay by here and we'll have this conversation because we're two intellectual people.
Right.
You
That's
didn't
how I
look at
felt.
it like class or status.
That's how I felt when I met Charles Hoskins. I met him a few
Right.
times, and I recently actually, again, I get to hang out with people, right? So I was hanging out with Charles Hoskins. He actually signed, I have a physical card that has Cardano on it. And he signed my card, and again, I don't know if these people mind me saying this, but I'm smoking a joint outside of Consensus, and Charles comes out of Consensus, puts his arm around me, and he's like, come on, we're going to the Polymath event.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and it's nice.
I'm going to Polymath event with Charles. Okay, let's go. And the funniest part of this was I actually created the first security token on Polymath because Charles brought me to the party.
Right, exactly. See, that's karma. It's just all things will work out that way. So
good energy in this space, man. Such good energy. It's hard to stay away from some of the bad energy because there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing. But after a while, you can smell out the wolves, man. And these events are starting to get more pure. That's why I like Futurist. It's a pure event.
Right. Well, I mean, they keep coming out with guest speakers day after day. And I know this one, the one that I want to see the most, has nothing to do with blockchain, but I was like, I want to hear what he has to say about blockchain, and they're going to have Larry King there. And I was thinking to myself, wow,
he's there again this year.
But yeah, they said Larry King is going to be there.
He was there last year. He's fucking amazing. Hold up, sorry to interrupt. You do know last year he talked to Charles Hoskins on stage about cocaine on the blockchain.
Right. So he's going to have these kinds of discussions again.
He's so outside the box that he's seeing the big picture.
Right. And I love that because he's just as old as Warren Buffett, but he gets it generation-wise. He can get our generation.
He's seen technology change the world several times over several decades, and he's not linear mindset. Peter Schiff and all these older investors, Warren Buffett and these guys, the older guys of this, investment world, their linear thought process has been nothing but success for them. But Larry King has always had to be a puzzle of sorts to seek success. And he's used to seeing things not move linearly to reach success. So, again, I'm excited. I didn't know he was going to be there again this year.
No, when I saw that was eye-popping for me. And I was, if there was one person I could get an autograph or take a picture with, especially because he's getting older, and just to say that, hey, I got to see him.
My boy just said he's smoking Gorilla Glue number 4. Bruh, same.
Love it.
I'm smoking with you, bro. If my lighter will work, because my lighter died right before the live stream.
I got OG cookies in my vape. I love it.
That's for you, bro. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, it'll be maybe you'll know the spots in Toronto. That's it's I want to get off.
Do you want to get a fake ID? Remember my Satoshi Nakamoto driver's license?
Oh yeah. You
got to get a Gator Bitcoin driver's license.
Okay. They make it there, then totally.
It's a real ID. It will scan because it's a copy of your real driver's license. So if they scan the copy, it actually comes up with your real information.
Okay. Yeah, that would be because I'm trying to make a bucket list of things to do while I'm there. That would be added to the bucket list.
Oh, Tokyo Smoke, dude. Oh man, we're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe you might be on another level than I do, knowing this stuff, because you knew Medman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the chat, Baozen, he said that he was the one smoking with me when Charles invited me to the polymath event. I have a fucking witness. Shout out, bro. Small
Dude,
world, man. I like this is the thing I love about the space is like, you know, my buddy here, I can't tell your username from you in real life. I'm so sorry. But like we were smoking and that's why I like going to these events to meet and interact and actually hang out. Like we've known each other online, but we never got to hang out yet.
right, and like
That's what I look forward to the most. Like fuck Larry King. Fuck
right.
all that. Like it's all frivolous. That means nothing to my life, but like hanging out with you, smoking, getting to meet you, like that's going to be more impactful than sitting in a room listening to Larry King. I can get that on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about those moments for me, for personally. So I have it like I'm so sad with these things. And
what are some of the things on your bucket list? I'm so interested now.
Right. So apparently the and I found this out a couple of weeks ago. It was just a happy coincidence. I'm a big wrestling fan, and the pay-per-view SummerSlam is going to be there on Sunday. So I had it where I was going to go get there on Sunday, leave on Thursday, and I paid like some money to Scalper to get this, but it was like I'm coming in right off the plane. I'm like going to go to my place just to drop off my luggage, and then I'm going straight to the stadium and I'm seeing SummerSlam.
What day is that? What number date?
On the Sunday.
Yeah, what day is that?
On the 11th.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, you're getting in a day before me. I remember you tweeted out, and I couldn't make it.
No. But see, the thing is, then they're having like a back-to-back thing the next night, where then they're going to be on Monday Night Raw, also like from the same place. So then I'm going to both of these things back to back. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, like during the days, we got the blockchain conferences, and then Tuesday night I got tickets to go see the Toronto Blue Jays play. So all of it's all in the same little downtown area, and I just want to hit all the spots. And then someone talked to me about this thing called the CN Tower. That's like you could see everything from the very top. So
good food.
If I can hit up all those things, that's my bucket list right there. I could say like I enjoyed Toronto. Like besides just being there at the conference itself, that's one part. But if I didn't do all those other things, I'd be kicking myself.
I got you. Yeah, dude. I know Canada's a beautiful place, man.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Steve! I know who the guy is in the chat now. Steve, the photographer. All right, this dude, my bro, took a picture of me and Ron Paul together, and it's
cool.
The best dude. It's my Tinder. If you find me on Tinder, the first photo on Tinder is me with Ron Paul. I fucking love that photo, bro. So, Steve, I love you, bro. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being in the chat, dude. I can't wait to meet you at another event.
Yeah, I'd like to see that sometime. That would be really fun.
Yeah, dude, it was really cool, dude. The Consensus was a lot of fun, man. It's just, again, guys, don't give these companies your money. Just go to the lobby, hang out in the lobby, or out front. You'll hang out with everybody. Fuck that ticket shit.
Right. And for me, like I told people in Toronto, I said if someone for whatever reason they can't go make the conference, I will go and like Uber to wherever they're at, and I'll go to like whatever meetup they want, if they want a cup of coffee somewhere, just so that I want to feel like everyone, I got a chance to see everyone.
Well, Futurist has a free lawn and a free pier that people can go to, so you don't need a ticket. And there's some outside concessions and booths and stuff, so there's a lot to do for free. So where they have this venue, it's usually a nightclub and stuff like that. Last time I was there was a movie being produced right in the parking lot across the street. So a lot of the movie production company crew were wandering in to the free part of the Bitcoin conference with Futurist, and the security and all. There was so much like synergy in that. And so if you can't afford a ticket to Futurist, I just show up to the Rebel. It's the Rebel, that's what they call it, and they have a free lawn area and you can hang out and chill.
And I want everyone to know they can just DM me. I'll come outside and say hi to them. I don't want them to think like they have to get in through the doors to say hi to me. Like I want to just be open to everybody.
You'll smell me outside somewhere. You'll see the smoke signals. I'm like Chief over here. Like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you over here?
No, and I can't wait. I mean, I'm just getting used to it now in Florida, and it's just it's still with medical where people see me that I smoke, and they're like assuming like, oh well, he's got a medical card. We're just gonna leave him alone. But there, where it's legal, the whole country, just as of recently, I've never been to Amsterdam before, so this is the first time I've been to somewhere where the whole country marijuana is legal. So that is going to be amazing,
It
in
is.
itself.
It is amazing though. It
Right.
is amazing though. It's
Nothing. You just go into the store, just buy whatever you want. You don't have to like show your prescriptions. You don't have. There's no regulations. Just do what you want. That's
There
freedom.
are some regulations I will highlight though. In Canada, it was so October 16th, cannabis went legal nationwide in Canada. Before that, there were illegal dispensaries, like they were like regular stores, but they didn't technically legally have the license, but they were everywhere. You could get edibles with like 1,000 milligrams.
Wow.
Unfortunately, now that it's legal and there are some minor regulations, I think the highest edible you can buy at a time is like 200 milligrams or so.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, for me, I hallucinate when I eat too much THC. It's like LSD at some point, right? So, eating 1,000 milligrams of THC in one brownie would just send me on a trip, and it was awesome. But now I have to eat like fucking 5 brownies to get there.
Yeah, you might in Florida. What they do is they have a system where they give you these prescriptions, and you have like these levels of prescriptions, and they refill it every 2 months. So the idea is that they're capping you. Like they'll have oral prescription that's like if you got gel caps or like oils that you put on your tongue, and then they'll have an edibles prescription. And then they'll have a smokables prescription, and then an inhalation prescription for the vapes. So they divide it all up. And then they say you can have X amount for every 2 months, and they keep these levels. If you go from one store to another, they'll all use the same system, so there's no like real way around it. So even while it's legal for me, I'm still not really completely free right now. There's still lots of limits on what I can and can't do here.
Well, in New Jersey, one of my friends has a medical cannabis card. I refuse to call cannabis marijuana. I feel like it's like a racial slur at some point. So just throwing that out there, guys. If you say marijuana, just say cannabis. It's less racist. And yeah, dude, he can smoke legally anywhere there's an ashtray publicly. So if there's an ashtray outside of a convenience store, like one of those put your cigarette out ashtray, he can smoke his medication. And if a cop walks by, he can't get a public citation for it. And I just thought that that's so empowering, because there's so many moments where I have anxiety, like at these events, that I go outside, I smoke a joint, I cure my anxiety, and I go back into the conference. What I am committing is a fucking crime at a federal level by medicating myself. Like, I want to get a medical card, man, but and this is nothing to go against whatever, don't take it personal, please. It's just, I look at the medical cannabis card as an elitism kind of thing. Like if I get this, I'm incentivizing them to keep this up, which means the people that can't afford it can't get the permission.
It's really interesting you said that because when I was in Arizona, because I had to go there and use their medical thing before Florida, and I had stomach issues at the time. They were trying to. There was a push to make it recreational there, and I think they got it passed. But the biggest lobbyists for it were the people that behind the medical programs, because they didn't want, if they had recreational, then all of a sudden their little club disappeared, and they couldn't control everything anymore. So I imagine if Florida does try to do it the longer they let a medical program come in, the harder it's going to be to switch it to recreational later, because people will get too complacent.
Could you imagine if you needed a fucking doctor's note to go get a bottle of vodka?
Right. No, it gets too excessive at some point.
But you know what? So. People say that what we're saying is conspiracy theory shit, and you're just being paranoid. No. Nobody saw cannabis being legal, period, let alone recreational or medical. It's a Schedule 1 narcotic, means it has no medical principles at all. But here it is in the United States, where you can go to some and get it state legally recreational, state legally medical, but not legally federal. It's so weird to see the circle of entrapment that they have created, to where we are celebrating the circle of entrapment that they have created.
No, it's I'm fine with it. I mean, I can say there's a good chance I wouldn't be alive without it, and I could say that for sure.
Same.
That I went, so I went to Arizona, and I can say it helps cure. I can't say it's a cure for cancer, but it certainly helps the treatment process of getting through it. And if you have early stage of these things or any other diseases, that without cannabis, that I mean, maybe these things are curable, but it's a lot harder to deal with.
Yeah.
And so, you need to have a quality of life. And, so if someone can live their life perfectly and they don't need it, they don't need cannabis, great for them. But,
This is a pretty good segue on regulation talk, because we're talking about, cannabis regulations. We can segue
right,
that into crypto regulations. Like,
right,
now that we're starting to see more mainstream attention, we are having,
mm-hmm,
some banks are being publicly involved. JP Morgan's creating their own. We have
mm-hmm,
the SEC announced, they've been caught out running nodes.
right.
They have lightning channel testings in government situations now. Government. So where do you see the regulations in crypto being, on the balance beams of toxic and safe? Because that's what regulations are for, right? They're supposed to keep us
Right.
safe, but too much security becomes, like gun control. We have a police state now in Bitcoin.
Right. So I think what's happening is these coins are meant to replace like bonds for savings right now, because the central banks went in and intentionally lowered these interest rates, where if you try to buy these bonds, you're not going to get any money back. And in some cases, they have negative rates where you're guaranteed to lose money if you bought them.
Take one for
So
the team.
Right, exactly. So they're doing that on purpose to get you to buy other things, and then these coins become those other things. They become these other things that you buy to save for. Just the whole idea of the word stable coin, of the idea of like, okay, this is your new savings account now, or this is your new piggy bank. So it's for people that want to have something like to hold store value, but they also don't want to take any risk either. Like when people buy bonds, they're doing the low risk asset that's going to get them a small return but a guaranteed return. So these are basically just new bonds to me.
Right.
And the idea that they're run by corporations and not the United States government, at least then, I mean, the government's gonna try to regulate the companies, and there'll be these back and forths, but it won't be as much manipulated, or I expect it to look different, possibly better, because this is more competition. This sounds like more capitalism
Yeah, I
versus
feel like
one
right
single
now we're
class.
living in a moment of Bitcoin or crypto prohibition. We're
Right,
moonshiners of the crypto era right now, of the
right,
cryptocurrency economy. And they're going to realize that prohibition didn't work for alcohol. It's not working for cannabis. Prohibition
right,
doesn't really work. So
right,
if they want to try to put a stranglehold on this, all you're going to do now is create dark markets or third party things where people will become brokers overnight, and
right,
they don't want that. So I think they're going to conform to us before we have to
right.
conform to them.
I think they want to make their own coins before they try to accept Bitcoin, but they
Yeah,
don't.
of course. I
They,
mean, that's a
yeah,
last ditch effort. They have to. That's the
right,
Hail Mary, right?
right. So
And
I
everybody
think we're
expects
going
them
to
to
see that
throw it.
now.
Yeah, they're
Right.
going to
So
toss that up in the air, but it's going to be dead. It's that.
right,
And you brought
right,
up stable coins. Stable coins are the biggest scam in crypto. There's no such thing as stable coin. It doesn't
right.
exist.
Right, but it's the whole idea of it sounds good, it sounds safe, and people want that safety sound, especially when they think of crypto being so volatile and so scary. So but I mean, all this comes back to the bond market, that these central banks are their policies are only going to make crypto stronger, not worse, and they know this because they're all their policies were meant to pump up the stock market, to pump up asset classes. And what the reason of this was is that people in these asset classes, then they get more money from it, and it's you could see as the stock market's gone up, or as around the world, not just here, that you see this wealth shift from the bottom go up to the top, and the rich will get richer in this sort of situation, and we have less of a middle class when this
Yep.
happens. So
People don't understand how big middle class is or how hard it is to achieve middle class.
right,
People
right,
think they're middle class, and I'm like, no, you're not. You ain't
right,
middle class. You ain't middle class at all. You think you're middle class. What's your bank account? Because you need at
right,
least $80 to $100,000 to hit middle class minimum.
right. And people think that I'm rich, and I tell them I'm middle class. So it's it's also uh, I'm sorry.
No, it's just these words that make people feel comfortable about their financial situations, but it's all
right,
security theater. You have financial security theater, and when it comes
right,
down to falling back on it, it's all puppet shadows. You're gonna be fucked up.
right. So all these things are why I like Bitcoin. It just can't be manipulated the same way. And but it's just so obvious that the central banks are always going to be blowing arrows into these bubbles, and so Bitcoin is just a consequence of making these bubbles over and over again. It was created so that if we're just going to keep printing money out of thin air to bail out every time we have a problem, and then be like, okay, we're going to just keep blowing more air into the bubble, more into the bubble. Not all of it's going to go into the stock market. Some of it's going to seep into Bitcoin, just like it seeps into gold or other assets.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's what do they call those? Alternative commodity investors,
right,
right? Like, there's people that invest in weird random shit. Like, even
right,
Pokemon cards falls into shit like that, right?
right,
So
right,
that money will flow into the newer channels as they appear, whether it be video gaming. Now, like esports is a thing that has
right,
become an oddity for investors to
right.
hedge some of that portfolio to. Bitcoin is as well. So I mean, you're dead on, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to come down to scarcity at the end of the day, and people just have to appreciate the math and appreciate the scarcity, and they have to look at it from the fiat side of it. The fiat's just going to get more or less and less scarce and more devalued. And so if they have savings, if they want to have a retirement, if they have a kid and they want them to have a college fund, all these things are important that they're in hard assets and not in paper dollars, because then it's going to cost a lot more for them to save, and everything's going to be harder for them in the future.
But they
So
think
this is
their
to help
bank's
them.
interest is helping them.
No, but so when they cut interest rates, so we cut interest rates for the first time in 11 years.
How many
The
people
last time,
even know this happened?
right, and that's the problem, and so because they're so into maybe
Nobody
they
got an
watch the
email
news.
from their bank.
Right, exactly. And their bank is supposed to let them know, hey, now things are going to be cheaper for you. Now things are going to be easier to borrow.
Yeah, everybody who has a bank account should have a person
right,
on their account at that bank. You should know your
right,
your doctor's name when someone says who's your physician. You should
right,
know a name when I say who's your banker. And
right,
that person should be helping you by, even if they say you should probably take some of the money out of the bank right now,
right,
they're legally obligated to do that, but they neglect you.
right. So this is all sort of a game where the central banks are in this theory where they can avoid if they print enough money, or if they do certain things like interest rates lower, that we could just avoid recessions for forever and ever from now on. That it worked in 2008, that we had this crash, but that they printed up money and that it made
They
the
said
crash
this
go
publicly.
away.
Publicly.
Yeah,
You can go
right,
and see this being said publicly with words coming out of their mouth where the
right,
Federal Reserve is saying we can just print more money.
right.
Like dead face, there is no problem. We'll just print more money.
Right. And I mean, I put it on Twitter when they made this announcement on Wednesday that they said these. I mean, they say it in a professional way, but they said these actions were designed for the benefit of the American people, and per our mission, like that they have a mission to basically control the economy, to control inflation, and they said that the action was designed to increase inflation. So I mean, someone who owns saving dollars, and they're seeing that means they're being punished for saving. They're going to get less of the interest back in return, and they're being told that their money is going to be inflated away. So I mean, the whole point of it is to get them to not save. It's telling them to go into this like credit card or borrowing economy, all things that are the reason why we have a $23 trillion deficit in the first place.
Did it hit 23?
Yeah, or near there.
Okay, I was like, damn, I've been watching it, and I took a month off, and I'm like, holy shit.
Well, we're past the budget recently, so it's gonna go up soon.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean
yeah,
and that's what you know what though our government loves that number because the more
right,
debt, the more money because our money's backed by debt. Like
right,
it's a
right. So
perpetual motion machine of fuck.
right. So I mean, it's someone, but people, if someone wants to have a retirement or have some sort of comfort in the future of knowing that the money that they worked hard for, that they can have a nest egg, they just can't get it unless they put it into hard. Like they can't just get it by just putting it into the bank and just holding it as dollars,
Yeah, and people don't
because
realize how new this style of security really is to
right,
the
right,
human economy. Hard asset investment for retirement was always a thing
right,
until, we had world banking and then they decided, let's try this experiment out.
right,
And it's
right,
failing horribly.
right.
Banking is an experiment that is failing horribly.
Well, the thing about the credit card economy is that when things look bad, they just give you more credit, and then they just invent more. So
they
their
they got
only
us.
thing is right. They just dig the hole deeper. And it blows my mind what's going on in Europe and Japan right now. I thought that rates stopped at zero, and then after that you would go and you would have to do quantitative easing, where you print money on top of it. And they're saying like, no, rates can go. Well, theoretically, the lowest they could go is negative 100%, because at that point you would give the bank all your money and then they give you back zero in return. So it can't be negative 100%. But now in Germany, we're at negative 0.5%, and France, we're at negative 0.25%. Just that they could go below zero, and that they're saying like, look, if you buy this bond right now, you're guaranteed to lose, and then it keeps going lower anyway, so people are still buying it, and then they'll go and say in their statements, we're the buyers behind this ourselves. We don't encourage you to buy it. So like, it just take them at their word, and if you just listen to their words and do everything they're saying stop saving and put it into this instead. And they want you to put it into their stock markets,
Yep.
but they can't control where you put it. And the more that blatant and obvious that they do this, that these rates go lower, it just turns people off, and that's what's going to turn Bitcoin on.
Yeah, no,
So
and they're getting really good at those, don't look over here, look over there, and
right,
charging you more for it. And
right,
I think, I want to say people are starting to wake up to it, and I don't, because even children now, because of the technology they have in their hands, they're dealing with currencies all the time, whether it be Pokemon Go coins or whatever. Some
mm-hmm.
kids even have their own like credit cards now because you can use the
Right,
tap and pay. So they're more savvy. You couldn't really give your 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or even a 15-year-old their own bank account not
right,
too long ago. Now you can kind of delegate that out, and now with cryptocurrencies, they full on fledgely are their own banks. They're getting more familiar with how money and currency should work and how this currency, USD and fiat in general, doesn't work, and it isn't working, and they're getting more comfortable with the ideas of different monies. I've seen people hedge into like Pokemon Go coins and different like centralized in-game currencies like not World of Warcraft, but things like that where you have these in-game assets and in-game currencies because they know it's a better money than their US dollar. And they're
right, right,
kids. They can
right.
get dollars for their in-game currency if they transfer it to their friend or whatever, but it's going to gain more value. They'll get more dollars for those assets on their video games.
Well, the highest the interest rates have been in the last 10 or 11 years have been 2.5%. That someone can go and buy a 10-year bond, hold it for 10 years, and then get 2.5% on back on that return over 10 years. So a quarter
That's
of a
tax
percent.
free, isn't it?
Right, it's tax free. But what I'm saying is that's how little risk someone was taking for that, and how much inflation happened in those 10 years. Was it really worth the 2.5% that you got back? If inflation, if you just took their mandatory 2% inflation that they have every year and you compounded it, that there would be like roughly 30% inflation between now and 10 years from now, and that's just off of if we just had normal inflation of a normal economy, so imagine. Um, it just boggles my mind like how these interest rates could be so low, and that people would still want to hoard them anyways. They would have to be extremely scared, or in this case, it's just straight up manipulation that the banks are saying we're going in and intention, like, this is our policy. We're going in there doing this, creating inflation, because if we do this, then there won't be a recession, or they're like, we'll fix our economies. The governments can spend and do whatever they want, and we'll be there to protect them, basically.
Crypto
You know,
Motive just said something really funny. I think you might be able to resonate with. He just said, "Rent is the only investment that never goes back down." When's the last time you heard someone say, "I signed a new lease and it's cheaper than the last one"?
yep. That's one of my jobs, being a realtor.
Right, right. I figured
have
you'd
to
be
do
able to
that.
resonate with that because a lot of people
Yep.
don't understand that, even with the raise you might get at work, with the interest you might get on your bank account, I feel
Right.
like with the way rent has been increasing over the past decade, it has significantly counterbalanced all of the hedges you could make. You
Well,
need
oh
these
yeah,
hard
and
assets
you
to
and you
counter
don't.
this.
Right, and you don't have any equity at the end of the day. So you went and put all that money into rent, and you got nothing else to show for it at the end of the day.
See now,
Where,
what I don't practice what I preach, but I know what I should do. While you're renting, the difference between renting and owning, you should be saving. So if your rent
exactly.
is $500 a month and
Hmm.
owning would be $1,200, try to
Hmm.
save that $700 difference every month if you can, or as close as possible. And
Right.
that way, you're already living on those means by the time you want to get to that. And that's how you end up saving and getting to that point. But a lot of people, they see that they're spending less than they need to on a house so they can go get new Nikes or the new iPhone
Right,
or
and you see that, and then they all of a sudden they this is the anti-Bitcoiner sort of philosophy, because if you're a Bitcoiner, you want to try to live within your means, and the whole idea of saving is living within your means. That this was money that you have left over, and that you're buying more insurance, and you're buying more insurance, so that if one day you need this, that it'll be there for you. So I mean, that's how. Like, so if I was saving for a mortgage, I would save it in Bitcoin. I wouldn't save it in regular dollars, because by the time I got to that point for a mortgage, that maybe then the mortgage was more expensive because of that. So the Bitcoin at least hedged my inflation. So any sort of like long term project like that, where I'm saving for a considerable amount of time, I'd rather save in Bitcoin than in fiat.
yep.
It's it's all none of this is day trading stuff. This is all like thinking in terms of multiple years, and going out further in time. So
Yeah, I
I,
don't. Day traders have been getting wrecked. Even Tone Vase has been fucked up a couple times this year. So it's tough, man. But it's easy to do the long term. Just hodl it out, and if you can afford
right.
to do it, you just ride it out. But I guess we should wrap things. I didn't realize we are
Yep.
15 minutes over the hour, so I
That's
feel like
all
I
good.
kidnapped the Gator here.
No, we're fine.
Anything you wanted to cover before we get going, or just let people know what you're up to, where to get in touch with you and stuff, or any topics you wanted to cover that we didn't?
Just a couple things real fast. So I'll be there in Toronto for the Futurist conference, and then I'm glad, like you said, like if anyone can't make it out, but we'll be in those three areas. Feel free to DM me or message me. I will go out to you guys and see everybody. And then also, there's two places that if someone's in the Florida area, the South Florida area, Tuesdays and Fridays every week. I'm at the Smart Crypto Cafe in West Palm Beach, where we do technical Tuesdays and fundamental Fridays. We do analysis and get meetups and to socialize with people. And then one other place called the Blockchain Center in Miami, we do Crypto Mondays every 2 weeks. So I'm usually there. Like I'll be there this Monday as well. And so anyone that's in the West Palm Beach or Miami area, there's always going to be something almost every week, like where we could do a meetup and you can meet people and network. So I like to get out those people if we can, build a community here.
Yeah, man, it's important, guys, and yeah, you don't need to pay for any online courses or any paid day trader bullshit group chats. Go to a free meetup. I
Right.
do one in Philly here and there, and I know you got one, and Wendio, and there's so many people. Aaron, damn, I could. A lot of people do meetups everywhere. I know like a person in almost every city, state that does a Bitcoin meetup. So just
Right.
go to meetups.com or Eventbrite and check it out, or Twitter, Facebook, and get involved in these free community building projects, because you're less likely. I mean, if you're going to pay a group leader $100 for the year, you're already $100 in the hole. So just Yeah. So I appreciate what you're doing, bro, and I'll see you on
Thank you.
the interwebs, man. Definitely follow my bro on Twitter, Bitcoin Gator,
Yep.
Gator Bitcoin.
Thank you. Thank you. And I
And
appreciate you having you on too. This was such a great time.
dude, yeah, man, it's only been my second podcast back in like 5 weeks, and this has been, I appreciate this, man. It's been a
Uh,
great show, and I want to shout out everybody in the chat as much as I can. So there's Boston, Coca-Cola, J-Mac, Crypto Motive, Dave. Oh, bro, Dave, Huddle. I didn't even see you pop in, bro. Thanks for stopping by. Nice to see you. Steve, dude, I can't wait to see you at another event, man. This is going to be fun. He's the photographer buddy of mine. We got Brian Jones. Yeah, dude, just say cannabis. It's less racist.
yeah.
And Agartha, dude, Agartha, we go way back, dude. Asgard, my bro. Like, much love to see you here, man. It's been a long time, and it's just comforting to see all my fam. We got PFC Wells in the chat, man. Like, these are old school bros, like from the way back. Just want to say thank you to everybody. Thanks again to Bitcoin Gator. Gator Bitcoin. All right, guys, we're out. Have a day.
Yeah. See ya.